You're listening to Comedy Central.
Welcome to the Jim Jefferies Show podcast. Let's do a new theme song. The Jim Jefferies Show podcast is better than a radio show, except it's not because it's a podcast. Everyone tune into radio. It's a dying art.
I feel like the song should kind of be like, Jim Jefferies!
Hold on. Somebody has taken your version of the podcast theme song and made one for us.
Okay, let's listen to that. Jim Jefferies!
There you go. Ready? There you go. And here.
Podcast has been disappointed.
Oh, what?
Jim Jefferies Show podcast. It's the best podcast. I've listened to other podcasts and been disappointed. It's the Jim Jefferies Show.
That's actually good. That's
And now we do Jim Jefferies Show podcast. It's the best podcast I've listened to. Podcast, not the other podcast. Do you enjoy podcasting?
There you go. That's it. That came to us courtesy of some guy.
Now, Jack, can you hack it? Jack.
Get his name.
Jack, I've ordered everyone in the room.
Hold on. That was from Michael McGlynn. I gotta give him credit.
From the band called
Michael
Nihilist.
To make you a
McGlynn.
podcast song. All right.
Jack, I have roast beef sandwiches coming for everyone in 14 minutes. You have to be ready to go get them from the fucking the car park.
Bro, make sure it's grass-fed, all right?
Oh, that
Bro, grain changes the oil ratio.
we should introduce our
Let's do it.
our guest.
Our guest today from the Goldbergs.
One of my favorite shows. Can I say that right away?
You can't. I'm not done introducing him yet.
I'm not going to say it's a guilty pleasure because I don't feel guilty. I love the Goldbergs. That's my show because I love
You
Jewish
shouldn't feel guilty.
families.
It's a good show.
Well, you've said that to me privately.
I've said it to you. I
know.
spoke to you. I love the Goldbergs because there's very few shows.
And now I'll continue with introducing our guest.
There's very few shows that me and my son agree with. We agree on the Goldbergs, Funny Home Videos, and certain porn.
There you go. He's got to be educated. He's got to cut his teeth on the right porn.
Our guest today is
Rocco Siffredi
Bryan
plays-
Callen. We finally got out. Thank
Bryan Callen plays the phys ed teacher.
Coach Miller.
Coach Miller. And, like, I got to give you credit, Brian, because I assume at the beginning of the Goldbergs, because Dan Bacadol, who's done many spots on our show, who was on Legit, who played the science teacher, I believe, he had 2 or 3 episodes. But I assume that your episode, to begin with, you weren't a big part of the show, right?
Yeah, it started out, I think, as just a one-off.
Yeah, it was just a one-off.
Yeah.
And your character got so popular
Yeah,
that now your character's so big that you got a spin-off.
that's what they say. So far, 13 episodes of a spin-off.
What do you mean that's what they say? Like, are you allowed to talk about it? Or
Yeah, no, it's official.
Okay.
It's official. But, you get so many no's in this business. I've been here for 23 years.
Yeah.
And that,
Which
you
is
get-
amazing because you only look 26.
Well, I've had my face tightened, as you know.
Sucking
And
cock will do that.
I've got great genetics. I train. Do we have time to talk about my regimen?
Talk about whatever you want.
Yeah, your regiment is the name that he gives to the Taiwanese boy who lives in his basement.
That's exactly right. I call him Mr. Han, even though he's a lot younger than me.
Yeah, and he's not that well hung because
No, he's
Asian people.
No, it looks like my thumb. But he takes a good beating with a good attitude. I keep him in a small trunk. And he wears a hood. Now, what were we talking about?
Okay, we have to start the episode.
I have a boner, I have a
You gotta
boner.
read your promos first.
Forrest, tell me what I'm doing this week.
just
Jim
gave you some
Jefferies'
favor.
upcoming tours. I'm April 27th, the Rialto Theater in Jolie, Illinois.
Nope, it's Joliet, and you said it wrong.
Oh, fuck those
It's
people.
this weekend. It's done now. You haven't said it
I
right
don't want
one
you to
week.
come. I don't
Yeah.
want you to come if you can't pronounce your own town.
You can't pronounce their town. It's Joliet. It's right outside of Chicago. Or just I don't
April
know.
22nd, Overture Hall in Madison, Wisconsin.
Got that.
Not to be mistaken with the other Madisons. May 18th, Centennial Hall in London, Ontario, Canada. That's the lesser-known London.
Yeah.
No one ever goes, I went to London, Ontario.
The busted truck version.
And May 19th, First Ontario Concert Hall in Hamilton, Canada.
That's outside Toronto, right?
I
Yeah.
assume that's a city and not the musical.
Yep.
Hamilton.
Just outside of Toronto. near
Hamilton,
Buffalo, I
and the
think.
Clusterfest Comedy and Music Festival, June 1st to June 3rd in San Francisco. I hear that your property prices are very reasonable.
Good segue.
Get tickets on jimjefferies.com.
That's a good segue.
You hear that noise? That was me dumping the list.
Because we can get into talking about the show, because our first act was about overpopulation, and we talked about the housing crisis in California.
We did. We talked about the housing problems in the world. If not, you see, when I was a child, when I was born into this planet, I don't remember a lot of parades, but there should have been. Mm-hmm. But the population of the world was 3 billion people when I was born, and now it's up to 7 billion.
But having said that, there are a lot of parts of the world where the population is not only not growing, but actually shrinking. How about that? Did you
What
guys know
parts
that?
of the world? What parts of
Did
the
you
world?
know that the Middle East, I believe the last time I looked, the mean age in the Middle East is something like 40?
Yeah, but they got to stop blowing themselves up, man.
I know. Well, you're being completely stereotypical. What did I fall into here? Yeah, and Japan,
Oh, you thought this was gonna be
Germany
serious.
can't.
I got
Germany can't sustain themselves.
Yeah, Japan.
China,
We're going to talk about.
China has a
We're going to talk. We're going to talk about China. We're going to talk about China. Also, the Germans have their issues, But we're going to talk about China because China. We actually mentioned this in the piece. What happened in China was they had the one-child policy, which is that's where pandas are from, and that's why they don't have many kids.
That's right.
But they had the China one-child policy, and what's happened is now that China doesn't have enough young people.
That's right.
And everyone's getting old at the same rate, and they don't have the old people, they don't have the young people to pay into social services to take care of the old people. So
Same thing
they've
in
reached
Japan.
a dilemma.
And that's why Angela Merkel opened up her borders to the Syrians, because they're an entrepreneurial people. And, well, I guess Germany can't sustain themselves. Wait, you reminded me of
Okay,
something.
so Bryan Callen is off the Goldbergs. I didn't know he was so political about the German.
I know. How exhausting. How boring. Hey, is this a TED Talk, everybody?
Yeah, where's that episode in the Goldbergs?
Yeah.
Where's the episode of the Goldbergs where they do the episode called The Cold War?
I got my encyclopedia on my phone. Let me lick my finger and swipe. Oh, wait, what was I going to say? In China, I heard I don't know if this is true, but they had a fly problem, like a major issue with flies in the 60s. I think it was because, the water and stuff. And so they basically said to everybody's got to kill 6 flies a day. And when you showed
I
up,
feel like I do my part because I kill several flies on a daily basis.
Wait, I want to hear why they have
With
to
your
kill
tongue.
flies. Why do they
Why do they
have
have to kill flies?
well,
Yeah.
apparently that was how they brought the fly pop. You had that many people orderly,
Okay.
like killing flies, and they actually got rid of their fly problem.
All right.
By people swatting away. That's a weird.
They had to catch them with chopsticks.
Wait,
though.
that would
I don't
never
know if you
work in
saw-
the United
Well,
States.
that was Japan. That was the.
Well, if
Karate
you
Kid.
train,
All right, sorry.
if you train in Kung Fu, sorry, that's Chinese for Kung Fu.
Gong fu.
That's not a big deal.
It's just the word kung fu, but said racistly.
I love the way guys do that. I love that. I've been studying karate for. Fuck out of here.
Karate.
When I was in Chile, when I studied in Chile.
But this is a weird thing.
Here's where
This is a weird thing.
shrinking-
I'm actually a brown belt in karate.
I know.
But
I can tell by the way you
I
move.
stopped doing karate at 11. Am I still a brown belt?
You were a brown belt at 11.
I'm a brown
Yeah,
belt.
it's different when you're a kid. They just get you up the ladder a lot quicker.
They let you through. My son Hank is a fucking purple belt or something like that. He's useless.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work.
I fight him on a regular basis and he loses all the time.
Because I haven't taught him the art of flying in the air, attacking you at
It
face
is
level.
It is weird because I took judo when I was a kid, and I remember when I
Watch this. Ready?
Judo
Ready?
was an Arab kid that he put in a basement.
This is the weird comment from a guest. Say that again. Say I took judo.
I took judo when I was.
Yeah, it makes sense. You're built for judo.
Oh, okay.
No,
see
you're
what I
right.
did? Like, you know
You're
that
right.
makes sense of that.
If Confucius saw you, is Confucius a person?
Yes, he was. He was a
Okay, if,
Chinese philosopher.
if Confucius saw you, Forrest, they'd go, Confucius says you
Yeah.
can never knock him down. Yeah.
No, but now go
You're like
look at me.
one of
Yeah.
those punchable clowns that you have.
No, they get
always
knocked down, but they
up.
pop back up.
got-
I wouldn't be able to pop back up.
You are the Chumbawamba.
And then watch me make you feel good. Ready? So he sees that, and I go like this. Yeah, but you've also got shoulders for days. That's when.
Oh,
when you compliment a
did.
man.
I think I like
when
that.
you-
Wait
when
a minute. I might have misheard you. Did you say shoulders for gays? You do have
What?
shoulders for gays.
What?
You do have shoulders for
What are
gays.
those kind?
I could shoulder fuck you.
Yes.
I could get a bit of fat from your shoulder, wrap around my dick, and fuck the shit out of it until I came
How is
over.
that shoulder fucking?
I like when
I was
guys.
trying to think of. I thought they were like grips or something. That's what I thought you were doing, but I didn't.
You can
I didn't
you can get complimented by a guy and not know if he's coming on to you or not. Like I like.
No.
If I looked at you and I went, "Do you swim?"
No. Forrest, if you get complimented by me, you'll know that I'm coming on you because of the cum.
No, I meant compliment.
Oh.
Damn it,
Coming
Jim.
on me. Okay. I
double
thought
entendres.
that's easy to tell. When the guy's coming on me, I can totally tell. That's
right.
Well, not always.
That's
Depends.
her- that's
if
her,
it's on
but-
my shoulder fat, I can't
We
tell.
have to check.
have any
We have to
feelings
check
there.
in very quickly with Jack Hackett, who's getting my food in 5 minutes. Jack Hackett, how's your life going?
Like that,
Here he
Mike.
comes.
Life was good. I graduate in 2 weeks.
From puberty or college?
Hopefully both.
Now, Jack Hackett. We
Yes,
in today's episode, we actually had a racist teacher from San Antonio, and we had to find a name for the racist teacher, and we named the teacher Jack Hackett. How did you feel about that?
I really appreciated it.
Really? Why?
Why?
Because he's a racist.
Well, I mean, you could have gone with some kooky name, but instead...
Can you just put a bleep in here so we all know
only
that
went
he's
with your
saying the
name for
N-word?
legal reasons, so we didn't have to get it like cleared. That was
Yeah,
that.
it's really... You guys
Yeah.
are really nice. I really appreciate it.
Jack,
Wow.
now that you're a college graduate
Dynamic.
in 2 weeks, how's the dating going?
The dadding?
dating.
The dating's going perfectly.
We ask him this every week, as if 1 week he's going to show up like he's.
You gotta stop putting your iPhone in your top pocket.
Yeah, that's serious.
I don't know. I don't know a lot about women, but that's not a good move.
Yeah.
It looks like you're filming every meeting.
Yeah, and you shoot dead loads. Too much.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Spot on.
All that radiation, you're gonna get fucking breast cancer in your fucking left tit.
Yeah, it's bad for your nips.
All right.
I call them nips. Let's see.
All
your
right,
nips.
and this is
Hey,
the week in abusing Jack Hackett.
Brian, Jack Hackett is an aspiring comedian.
Good to know.
How's it going?
Good. I had a good set last night.
Where was it?
It was at the open mic I host at school.
All right, open mic, guys, at school. Did people laugh?
People did laugh.
Oh, that's good. Now put down the microphone and stop bothering.
Step away from the mic.
Go get Jim's food. That's the only reason.
Now, Jack, we're literally. I don't mean to be rude about this, but
Literally.
the food is very close. So you're gonna have to keep pushing that button until it comes in. So, first act of the show.
So back to the act. So,
What happened was in the show we had we talked about the overpopulation in the world, and what
Housing
happens
crisis.
is the population is overdone, and then we talked about in California now, 1/3 or 2/3 of the people who live in California are paying half.
1/3. Yep.
1/3 are paying half their salary in rent, which when I was growing up, and I remember this is something my parents told me, that you're only meant to spend 1/4 of your income on rent.
Huh.
But
I
California,
never knew what it was supposed to be actually, but half seems a lot.
but you had
That seems a lot.
You had a gambling problem for many
Yeah,
years.
that's part of.
Yeah, that might
I
be.
didn't really do a lot of budgeting then.
Forrest is in Gamblers Anonymous. We should mention that.
That was my budgeting and all the money for gambling and zero for rent. I was like, done with budget. Like,
So I spend 1/4 of my income on rent, and the other 3/4 I spend on
The dice.
Yeah.
unless I don't win, then I spend the other quarter. I'm back on
Now,
gambling again. That's
you obviously had a losing record, otherwise you wouldn't be a
Sure, yeah.
gambler.
No,
Well, I mean, when you're
no one
compulsive,
looks at a photo of Forrest and goes, "This is a guy who has a winning record."
when you're a compulsive gambler, you don't know when to stop. It's just like you keep going. You're never
If you'd
satiated.
spend less time on judo and more
What's
time
the worst thing you ever gambled on, Forrest?
Worst thing I ever gambled on? Like worst event?
Yeah.
Like I did a lot of sports gambling. Little League World Series, I would say.
Little League
World Series, which you can't even get odds from. I made a bookie give me odds.
Yeah,
for Little League World Series.
Did you
And
look at
I'll
all
tell
the
you-
players and really weigh up what's going to
I'll
happen?
tell you why, because there's certain times of year when there's not a lot to gamble on because there's not a lot of sports going on, right? So, for instance, when in the middle of the baseball season, when the All-Star break comes, there's literally no sports on the buffer on the side of the All-Star game. And if you're a gambler, you're like, fuck, I want to gamble on something. And I'm not saying that was the timing for that, but there was just a day where there was nothing really to gamble on, and I was like, oh, Little League World Series on. I called my bookie, and I just made him make up odds.
Do you still watch sports now that you can't gamble on it?
Yeah, for a while I didn't. There was a big chunk of time that I didn't.
John Gotti used to. They said would gamble like $100,000. He'd see 2 cockroaches.
Yeah.
On the floor, and he'd wager some crazy amount.
Yeah.
On which cockroach was going to get to the. I mean.
Yeah, totally. And there was one time I was just sitting in college with there was 3 of us watching women's bowling, and we each took one of the women. Didn't know anything about them, and the only woman that won we didn't take. That was the only one we didn't gamble on. We just sat there and watched women's bowling. We knew nothing about. But yeah, literally.
I don't know about women's bowling. Like, if I was to see 3 women 10-pin bowlers, I would go with the one that has the biggest torso.
Yeah, she lost. I remember that match like
the one
vividly.
shaped like a bumblebee.
I remember it vividly, and that woman did not win. The one that you thought was be the ringer, you were like, she was out immediately.
The one with the biggest torso, just because she has better torque and a stronger core.
Any bowler with the biggest dick would be my preference. Yeah. Now, so with the show, we talked about the overpopulation of the world. And what happened is the world's getting overpopulated. You might know this if you're listening to the podcast right now, because you might live in a cramped environment right now and thinking, I've tried really hard with my life and this is all I've achieved. So
you might be really depressed.
Yeah, you might be really depressed. And this podcast may be the only thing that brings you happiness. Now, right now, you're sitting in traffic. This is what overpopulation means right now. Well, so what's happening is the housing. Also, now, I've always wanted to talk about this, right? My parents' generation, right? I'm not talking about your parents' generation because you're probably younger. The people that were my family, my parents' generation, they bought houses in the 70s for fucking $4.50. And then they fucking tell you about all the hard work they've had to do. Fuck those cunts. Fuck them. Fuck them in their fucking 70s ass. Right? I don't want to.
And their flat, underworked 70s asses.
Yeah, they're hairy, fucking.
They're unmanscaped.
Yeah, they're unmanscaped,
flat,
fucking hallucinogenic.
They're tight hamstrings. They're meat eating.
Fucking yeah.
Colon.
Listening to Kool and the Gang, fucking us. Right. So what happened with these people is my parents' generations. They bought houses for nothing, and they tell us that we have to work hard. But they dealt in the world. But I spoke about this before, right? Yeah. In Dallas, right? We spoke about this in the podcast.
I'm not sure if we spoke.
I got really unhappy about. So I went to Dallas and I saw where John F. Kennedy was shot dead. Yeah. And the thing that upset me the most about John F. Kennedy being shot dead was not that he was shot dead, the fact that it happened from a book depository. Yeah. That's the middle of the fucking city. Yeah. Like, in today's modern society, we wouldn't look at a high-rise in a main city and go, that's a good place to store books. Yeah. We would have that in a warehouse way on the outskirts. So true. But back in the day,
nice building.
Nothing was going on. Yeah. And they go, that's where we'll fucking put textbooks.
It's a nice building. You could spend a lot of money.
Oh, my God. We just got some roast beef sandwiches.
Top round roast beef. What is that?
I'm telling you. This, what I'm about to eat now, this is like... Have it. Do you want a Cali or do you want a regular? Horseradish? You like horseradish?
Yeah.
Right. Enjoy that. Horseradish. Do you want something with avocado? Or do you want?
I like horseradish, but I'll take whatever.
Okay, I'll get you another one.
This is the place you've been talking about.
I've found.
You've talked about this place,
yeah. I'm telling you, this what you're about to eat. Let's record us all eating it. Okay. This is like Arby's if Arby's was good.
Really?
I found this place.
Oh wow, yeah, it looks good.
I found this place.
Good. Ready?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
How good is that? Mm-hmm. That's a good sandwich, man.
It's really good.
I'm not mad at that at all.
It's good, right?
This is good podcasting right here. People chewing, and then you can just hear
mushrooms too.
Yeah, I put my
chewing sounds. This is award-winning.
I'm eating something that I assume is chicken.
This is the most disgusting sound I've ever heard.
Anyway,
I'm not mad at that at all.
Yeah.
It's good, right? It's a good place.
Does this sound good, Gully?
It's a shaved, dry roast beef.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
And they cut the roast beef in front of you.
Very, very thin.
Wow.
Paper
Yeah.
thin roast beef. It's kind of like the way you fold a Japanese katana sword. You understand?
No, I
you
don't know,
fold
but
that fucking
sounds
steel.
good.
You fold the steel so it doesn't
I mean,
crack when you fight. When I cut through a man, I can't have my fucking blade breaking. And whoever shaved this roast beef understands how a sword is made in Japan.
You're doing a commercial for roast beef or swords? That was like.
Now, you know what?
Well, everything is one.
You might not know this, but at showtime,
Yeah.
I eat how the fuck I want because someone else is washing this outfit. Regularly, I eat. I don't eat those because that would be ridiculous. It's good, right? Anyway, so the world's overpopulated. Now,
They don't have enough food, but we do.
That's pretty
Yeah.
All right.
we have to speed this up.
Back to the show.
Anyway, so that was the act. World's overpopulated, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
Problem.
we ended it real quick. We wrapped it up. It was pretty fun. We made a quiz to see if there's licensing for everything, and basically we said there should be licensing to have children as well. So we came up with a quick quiz on.
Licensing to children is not a bad idea.
Well, yeah, whether you should, but there
Yeah,
should
but
be
this is the thing, Brian.
qualifications for whether you should be.
This
able
is
to
the thing,
have
Brian. It turns out the Nazis did that.
Yeah, that was the big joke at the end.
That was a big joke.
Eugenics, everybody. So, but
Eugenics, eugenics, we all genics.
yeah,
Yep.
Now-
Eugenics started in the United States, though.
yeah.
Really?
Yep, in the 30s. That is not a Nazi invention.
They did it. They
American
did it in
invention.
Sweden until the fucking 70s.
But the School of Eugenics, where scientists actually studied it and brought it to fruit, happened in the United States, and I believe it was in it might have been somewhere in the South.
No,
Write that down, everybody.
no.
That's a good roast beef sandwich.
We have,
Roast beef and eugenics. That's the name of the podcast.
we have.
And katana swords. You understand? You're learning shit from me.
This is
shit
a
down.
really good sandwich, though. I can't stop
So
eating.
good. I'm telling you, it's so fucking good, man. Now,
All right.
the second and the third acts, we've only done this once before.
Finish chewing.
We did.
Finish chewing.
Shut up.
Finish chewing.
We did a double fill piece. We very rarely do a double fill piece. What happened was, we did a fill piece. Now, this was just a spot of luck because me and you.
You mean two acts? We're gonna
No,
do two
me
acts.
and you did a tour of Europe, and one night we did Dublin, and the next night we did London. So there's a guy called Justin Barrett. Justin Barrett is the leader of the National Party of Ireland, and he calls anyone who gets an abortion baby killers. And that's his exact quote. And he calls them baby killers, and he believes that that women who get abortions should go to prison for 14 years, and people who give abortions should have a 14 the death penalty. The death penalty.
Doctors that perform abortions should have the death penalty. But first of all, we should set it up that
Just talk for the next 17 minutes.
the piece started. We went and spoke to a friend of yours, comedian Tara Flynn, and she is an Irish comic, and she had an abortion.
One more sandwich. Who wants it?
Wow. She had an abortion, and but she had to go to England to have the abortion. And you found out that in Ireland, if you want to have an abortion, they call it going to London. That's the term.
Yep.
Traveling to London. And either that, or they have drones fly in pills to give abortion pills, like for women from England, or they go on you were calling it as a joke a cruise, but they'll go on boats, so they're in international waters and then perform abortions and come back to Ireland. So it's a real shitty scenario for women in Ireland that want to have this abortion because it's in their constitution.
My thing about abortion is that I'm a pro-choice guy, but that's because I understand when people are religious and they say life starts in conception, right? And you can make a scientific argument for that, I guess. But here's the thing. If you're really serious about saving lives, you got to be consistent. So if you believe that human life should be spared at all costs, then do me a favor. Please go outside and picket for lowering the speed limit on highways to 20 miles an hour.
Yeah.
That'll save, I bet you that'll save 54,000 fucking lives. So why are you not doing that first? Because that seems more pragmatic even. So we put a price on human life all the time, but also, do you put a price more on freedom? It's a difficult conversation. I stay out of it. I just tend to be pro-choice because
Well, that was one of the
don't wanna
one of
tell
the
them.
jokes Jim made at the beginning was he goes, and women love when men talk about women's health issues, and then made the joke, like, hey, we're going to talk about. But we did have Tara Flynn. You interviewed her, and she set the piece up where she's basically talking about her scenario, her situation.
I had a female comic who's a fan, who's a friend, and she's probably not a fan, and she had an abortion. Now Tara's in her 30s and everything. She has a husband and what have you, and she decided to have an abortion, but she had to go. She actually went to Amsterdam to get hers done. But she could have gone to London or what have you.
They have to leave the country as a point.
Yeah, it's about 12 women every day in Ireland have to travel to Britain or some other place in Europe and get an abortion done.
But the term is called going to London.
I mean,
London.
is Justin Barrett going to take care of those kids when they're...
No, he just calls them baby killers.
Oh.
So it's, but
He's got such a heart of gold.
I think it was in 19.
He's about 5 foot nothing.
Yeah,
he's
well,
like Rudy.
There you go.
And I want to say it was 1983 that Amendment 8 was passed. In I'll look it up.
So anyway,
Ireland.
they're about to have a referendum to actually stop this thing. Now, this guy thinks that the women should get 14 years in prison.
1983.
And the doctors who do it should get the death penalty.
Well, what if they have other children? I'd love to have him answer this question. So the kids should be essentially turned over to the state.
Well, he'll have an answer for you at all times. But it's
That's
like,
good.
but it's like, it's not. Here's the funny thing, though. So
that's just a religious kind of like, that's a kind of like a zero-sum game, right?
May 25th is the vote to repeal Amendment 8. It's got good support right now. The numbers look favorable that it's going to be repealed, but there's still like 20% of the country that's undecided. And it's because in that country, it's not so much a religious thing, but there's like this keeping the lineage of Ireland alive, where this tiny island and so forth. So there's still some of that kind of holdover. But right now, they're around 50% to repeal it, 20-something percent not to, like almost 30, and then the 20% undecided. But it's looking good. But May 25th is going to be the vote.
But if they could have more kids, they could get more votes.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah. So that's probably
right.
what the whole.
Well, it's the
There are
thing.
more babies.
It's the thing is the unborn baby has the exact same rights as the pregnant woman. Which is kind of madness that they can get lawyers and what have you. So we did a field piece. Now
They put women in prison for 14 years.
This is where Forrest Shaw took a lead position in this field piece. You were opening up for me while we were touring Europe.
Yep.
And what we did was Justin Barrett. I was in Dublin. I could have spoken to him that day. And I decided against it because I thought it would be better if we made him make the trip to London like the people who have to get the abortions do. And then we had him do the car journey with you. And this is so on the nose, but no one picked it up. We dressed him. We shaved his
What we
head.
wanted to do, though, the reason we did this, we wanted to make myself a little bit likable, but also annoying, and so that he kind of hated me but liked me at the same time. So we wanted to make him like
So
Griffith
Brian,
from
the
Planes, Trains, and
greatest
Automobiles.
character in irritation history.
Yeah,
we,
John
we,
Candy.
We called him Dell. We called Brad.
I shaved my beard. I have a beard normally. I shaved it off to the exact mustache that John Candy had in Planes,
We
Trains,
dressed
and
him.
Automobiles.
We dressed
Great
him.
mustache.
We dressed him like John Candy
Oh
in
my
Planes,
God.
Trains, and Automobiles.
Ill-fitting clothes.
One of the great
like,
movies and one of the great characters.
Yeah, and we called him Dell.
Yeah, Dell.
As he met him, he said, "Hi, my name's Dell." And then there's things.
We didn't
that-
mention it in the piece on there, but it's just like an Easter egg kind of thing. Like, and then here's one other thing too: is during the whole piece. I'll get to it when we get to what we did though. So
Are you going to show us?
We can show you afterwards, but yeah, it's airing like tonight. So then I flew on a plane at 7 a.m. Justin flew from Dublin, not London. Then Justin flew on the next plane from Dublin to London, and you were on the plane after Justin. So we're
Yeah.
all coming on these planes. Like, so I land, and then I meet.
I landed
Andrew.
after him.
I meet Andrew.
I was just in Dublin.
Our producer that's been on the podcast before, and we have this whole plan. We've talked about it ahead of time. So basically, I have these tuna sandwiches I'm going to offer them that are in my pockets, that I've been holding in my pockets.
You know what I
keep them
loved about
warm.
the tuna
And then-
sandwich in your pockets? They weren't wrapped in cling film. You had them in foil.
Yeah, foil. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you're from the
I was heating
19...
them up. That's what I kept saying. I was like, I run hot. I was heating them up in my legs, my big old thighs.
Did he take them? Did he take
No, we didn't know this at the time, but he absolutely can't stand fish, which was great for us.
Which is
So
probably
when-
why he's never had to have a woman get an abortion.
Oh, shit!
But when I took him out, it couldn't have worked better because he was appalled. He goes, "Oh no, I don't eat fish," and so I kept him out there, and I was like kind of licking my fingers, like I was like, "Oh, I can take the fish off. You can just have the cheese." And then I said, "Do you want an orange?" And because he was hungry, he goes, "Yeah, I'll take the orange." So then I proceeded to peel. This is not in the bit that we're airing though. I proceeded to peel the orange like a maniac, like
your
digging
fingers.
into it, like tuna's getting in it, and I handed it to him, and he fucking ate it. I don't know why he ate it. It's just like, and the whole time I'm like, well, I guess we can't use that. But that was in the van with him for 2 hours. So, and obviously we distilled it down to a couple minutes.
Somehow we worked out a 2-hour van ride back to the hotel from Heathrow to the fucking.
Did you get into the abortion issue with him?
Well, the way that we got him to sign off that we can record in the van was that we said, hey, we're gonna do some pre-interview questions with you with Del. And that way, when you get to see Jim, we're kind of, everything's ready to go.
Yeah, we're up to speed.
So he signed away paperwork, signed it. We had 3 GoPros in there. And then so the first 10 minutes is just me asking him questions. And I felt, because I'd never done anything like that before, I felt kind of bad at first. I was like, oh, this guy's so tiny. He's like a little leprechaun, and he's like shaking.
I like how you said little leprechaun.
No, he was
in
shaking.
comparison
He was like
to the
shaking
other leprechaun.
a little bit, so I was like, I felt bad.
And then he was nervous?
I don't know. But the pre-interview, he goes, women should be in prison for 14 years. Doctors should be executed. Immigrants suck. Like, he went down the whole laundry list. I was like, fuck this guy. I was all in, like, right after the pre-interview. I mean, I was in anyways, but it was just like, mentally, I was like.
He's kind of a bad guy.
Yeah, I was like, so then.
Baby killers.
So then so there was one of the other little Easter eggs was we had my wife kept calling me, and supposedly she said that I had taken these keys with me on the trip, which I said I hadn't. Turns out I had. I ended up pulling them out of my bag and being like, oh shit, I tried to get him to lie for me, and so there's footage in there of me like trying to hand the phone to him, and he's kind of freaking out, whatever. But the woman calling me as my wife is Cass, who works on our show. And I renamed her Candy on my phone, like for John Candy. Just as no one's ever going to see that, but just for fun, just to be like, this is just like one more thing. And you know what's funny in the piece? I never noticed it until we were airing it today. My phone was dying, and this was just like happenstance. So I plugged it in there to charge it the whole time, and it made me look so much more like pathetic. Like I had my phone plugged in charging too. Like I was just that much of a kind of like a lovable loser, just like it was just like the whole.
You weren't here when it happened. When he actually got to the interview, and I said, "Did Del treat you right?" And he went, "He's an interesting fella. My life has been enriched for knowing him." Yeah,
which is kind of a way of saying I was annoyed. And
he's a doctor who performs abortion. How do you feel about him now, you son of a bitch?
So. And then there was only a couple moments, like when I took my UGG boots off and I tried to get him to try the UGG boots on, because it was like I said, don't tell Jim, I'll give you these UGG boots.
Yeah, he's like, do you want to try my UGG boots?
I said, you should touch them. It's like having a sheep wrapped around your foot. That's what I kept telling him. I was like,
as an Australian, I know exactly how that feels.
Also, okay. And then he said, is this like a Borat situation or something? And I was like, so I pulled back and we talked about some dumb Irish sport for like 10 minutes, and then I would come poke back in.
Leprechaun hunting.
He didn't suspect it until the very end. We got lost. Our driver literally got lost, and I thought our driver was trying to get lost on purpose to extend it.
Yeah.
And we had a follow van. They weren't behind us anymore. And so I started yelling at the driver for real, like, get us to the fucking hotel right now. Because we were going to lose him. Like, I could tell he was, like, on the edge. He's like, isn't that car following us? Has that been following us the whole time? And I texted Scott and Andrew, and I said, hey, we were going to mess with his lunch a little bit, kind of, like, get the wrong order. And I was like, just give him the right food, because he's about to walk almost. And then so we kind of didn't get that piece. But he was definitely annoyed and kind of liked me, but also felt sad for me. And then he was really. And I finally got him to be
every
mean.
Relationship in Forest life.
The meanest he ever got was I was kind of just sitting there after I basically told my wife that I wanted a divorce, which was really awkward for him, and that was a really awkward point in the car. I go, Justin thinks that we should not be married anymore. And so basically, I put it. And then there was a woman that walked by with an umbrella that was like inside out, and it was raining. And I go, yeah, my life. That umbrella represents my life. And I go, I'm as bad off as that umbrella. And he goes, nah. You're worse than an umbrella. And I go, what the fuck? This fucking guy. I've turned him. Where yeah. He said it's in there. It's in the. But you couldn't really see the one with the umbrella, so it wouldn't have. Yeah, but I mean, maybe we'll do it next time. Who knows?
So that was 2 acts. We had Forrest just annoying someone, which I feel like
the second act. Yeah,
I feel like that could be a whole show. Just Forrest.
I'm down with it.
Yeah, the conversation on the way to the interview.
Yeah.
Who are you before the interview?
Yeah. Forrest Shore annoying people.
That's a good idea.
And then for our Act 4, we had Lucas Kavanagh, who we've had on the show before. And then Lucas was playing. Now, there was a school teacher in San Antonio, Texas, who set an assignment for his students to write the pros and cons of slavery.
Well,
well, he wasn't the actual teacher. That's
no, Lucas wasn't the actual.
I don't know if Lucas is still here. I just messaged him to see if he's still here, because he It was funny. Like during the thing, there was a lot of boos from the audience because he was playing the teacher.
Now, I think we can say this on the podcast.
The name of the teacher.
Our original booking to play this character was a friend of mine called Tom Arnold. And we've got
called Tom Arnold.
Yeah, Tom Arnold, who you might know from several Roseanne Arnold things. Tom's a great guy. Yeah. But what happened was Tom was booked to do the show, but then what happened was Tom tweeted something that was, I don't know, controversial yesterday, and the network decided it was probably best we didn't have Tom talking about the pros.
You can get banned for a tweet. Like you can do one thing. What was it? What was the controversial tweet?
He said to a...
You know Candace Owens is?
Yeah, Candace Owens, who's a Republican. She's going for the Senate, is she?
1 second.
Yeah. Anyway, she's a Republican politician. She's a black lady, and Tom wrote to her, "Keep on sucking that racist dick." When he was referring to Donald Trump's racist dick, and so he said to a black lady, "Keep on sucking racist dick," and it went a little bit squiff.
Here you go. Well, she's a conservative commentator. She's not. I don't know if she's running.
But why can't she be? Why can't she be conservative and black? Well,
she can be, but she's been in the news lately because I
like that virtue signaling by Tom Arnold, though. Come on.
She can be, but she's been in the news lately because I think Kanye was retweeting her and
Kanye really liked her.
Like, hey,
he thought that she.
There's a growing movement of conservative thought in the black community.
Yeah, because Kanye is conservative and he liked what she was saying, and then Tom Arnold, if you meet the guy, is the blackest person I've ever met.
Yeah, you don't. He sure is. He sure is. That's Tom Arnold trying to show the world that he's so not racist that he accuses a black woman of being racist, and just because she's got conservative views, I guess you have to be super left wing to be black.
Well, here's what she said. She goes, "When Perez Hilton, Tom Arnold, and Sean King, 3 white men, rushed to viciously attack the freedom of 2 black people who refused to be pawns to a leftist ideology, it should ring as a wake-up call to the world about who the real racists are.
Fucking men.
None of you white men own my blackness.
They're not racist. They're just dumb as shit." Tom Arnold, that's a dumb thing for Tom to say. He's just not. I know Tom, kind of. I've worked with him. He's not that smart. He's a sweet man.
No, he's a very sweet man. But we can say he is dumb. He did marry Roseanne.
Yeah, well, there's that.
Here's what he said in return.
Guy.
Here's the exact tweet.
Fucking dummy.
Here's the exact tweet back. He goes, "That's a lot of extra words at Real Candace. So you can suck a racist dick by trying to insult an actual hero, Sean King. Ha ha. Hashtag MAGA."
Who's Sean King?
we had to change the actor doing Act 4. So Lucas, who wrote much of
he was like
Lucas, who wrote much of the actual piece, we let him actually perform the actual piece where we did an interview with the person who set the assignment for students in San Antonio to give us pros and cons on the slavery. Now, as a little Easter egg in the show, we named that teacher Jack Hackett after my assistant, Jack Hackett. Jack would be upset if he had feelings or dreams. And so here we are.
So, in the act, you just had a conversation with him, the teacher that gave this assignment, pros and cons of slavery. And it was very funny, but if we had Tom Arnold playing it, I think people would have just been like laughing, like, this is funny. But Lucas is one of the writers on the show, and he's not like famous. It still played well. I thought it was funny.
Do you know what a lot of historians there's a lot of historians give credit to an invention that caused slavery to kind of, I guess,
the cotton
continue.
mill.
Yeah, the
Cotton
fucking
gin.
Eli Whitney.
Cotton gin.
Eli
Sorry.
Whitney made cotton more valuable because you could separate the seed from the fucking plant, I guess, easier. So cotton was like, they were like, we got a lot of free labor here. And this shit is like white gold, and everybody in Europe wants it. Let's fucking keep it going. Because there was a big anti-slavery movement, I guess, before that.
No, you don't guess about that, Brian. There actually was a big anti-slavery movement.
In general. There was in general, ladies and gentlemen. It started in England.
And here on the Jim Jefferies podcast, we agree with that.
That's right. We're anti-slavery here, everyone. We're all anti-slavery. It's all contextual, but in most contexts...
Okay, so let's wrap the podcast up. Forrest Shaw, have you got anything that you want to promote?
I do. As always, Poor Decisions is out there on iTunes and Google Play and Amazon. There's links on my Twitter at Forrest Shaw with 2 R's, FORRESTSHAW. And Bryan Callen.
Brian's on the Goldbergs, but you got your spin-off? You got any comedy specials or anything?
I got the special. I'm shooting my special, Talia Hall in Chicago, July 20th. Tickets just went on sale for that.
Oh, congratulations.
I'll be in Denver. Thank you, sir. I'll be in Denver Comedy Works this weekend. And
Best comedy club in the country.
I think so, too.
I think so, too.
I think it's fucking amazing. They pack it in.
Yep.
And then Calusa Casino, May 5th. Come see me. Thank you, boys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as we always finish the Jefferies podcast with a moment of inspiration.
Never done that.
Try to treat people nice. Don't spit on random strangers. You know.
So inspiring. So if there's a topic you want us to talk about, tweet to us at Jeffrey Show. Please subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts,
I'm eating
Spotify,
food
Google
off my
Play,
chair.
Stitcher, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Anything else, Jim?
No, I'm good, man.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. How good was that sandwich?
That was really good.
This has been a Comedy Central podcast.
Well,
She can be, but she's been in the news lately because I think
I like that virtue signaling by Tom Arnold, though. Come on.
she can be, but
fuck outta
she's
here.
been in the news lately because I think Kanye was retweeting her and saying,
Kanye
like,
really
was
liked
saying,
her.
Like, hey,
he thought that she. I
There's
think
a growing movement of conservative thought in the black
Yeah,
community.
because
It's good.
Kanye is conservative, and he liked what she was saying. And then Tom Arnold,
Yeah,
who,
so she-
if you meet the guy, is the blackest person I've ever met.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah,
So
he sure is. He sure is.
So yeah, so
That's Tom Arnold trying to show the world that he's so not racist that he accuses a black woman of being racist. and just because she's got conservative views, I guess you have to be super left wing to be black.
well, here's
The
what she
fuck
said.
is he
She
talking
goes,
about?
when Perez Hilton,
dummy.
Tom Arnold, and Sean King, three white men, rushed to viciously attack the freedom of two black people who refused to be pawns to a leftist ideology, it should ring as a wake-up call to the world about who the real racists are.
fucking men.
None of you white men
they're
own
not-
my blackness.
They're not racist. They're just dumb as shit. Like
So-
Tom Arnold, that's a dumb thing for Tom to say. He's just not. I know Tom, kind of. I've worked with him. He's not that smart. He's a sweet man.
No, he's a very sweet man, but we
not a
can't.
smart guy.
We can say he is dumb. He did marry Roseanne.
Yeah, well, there's that.
Here's what
He's
he
a
said in
sweet
return.
guy,
Here's the
but
exact
he's a
tweet.
fucking dummy.
Here's the exact tweet back. He goes, that's a lot of extra words at Real Candace. So you can suck a racist dick by trying to insult an actual hero, Sean King. Ha ha. Hashtag MAGA.
Who's
So
Sean King?
we
Who the
had
fuck
to
is
we
Sean
had to
King?
change the actor doing Act 4. So Lucas, who wrote
This is Sean King.
much of
He was like,
Lucas, who wrote much of the actual piece, we let him actually perform the actual piece where we did an interview with the person who set the assignment for students in San Antonio to give us pros and cons on the slavery. Now, as a little Easter egg in the show, we named that teacher Jack Hackett after my assistant, Jack Hackett. Jack would be upset if he had feelings or dreams. And so here we are.
so yeah, in the act, we basically, you just had a conversation with him, the teacher that gave this assignment, pros and cons of slavery. And it was very funny, but if we had Tom Arnold playing it, I think people would have just been like laughing, like, this is funny. But Lucas is one of the writers on the show, and he's not like famous. It still played well. I thought it was funny. I mean,
Do you know what a lot of historians there's a lot of historians give credit to an invention that caused slavery to kind of, I guess,
The cotton mill.
continue. Yeah, the fucking
Cotton gin.
Eli Whitney.
Cotton gin,
Eli
sorry.
Whitney made cotton more valuable because you could separate the seed from the fucking plant, I guess, easier. So cotton was like, they were like, we got a lot of free labor here. And this shit is like white gold, and everybody in Europe wants it. Let's fucking keep it going. Because there was a big anti-slavery movement, I guess, before that.
No, you don't guess about that, Brian. There actually was a big anti-slavery movement.
In general. There was in general. Ladies and gentlemen. Started in England.
And here on the Jim Jefferies podcast, we agree with that.
That's right. We're anti-slavery here, everyone. We're all anti-slavery. It's all contextual, but in most contexts.
Okay, so let's wrap the podcast up. Forrest Shaw, have you got anything that you want to promote?
I do. As always, Poor Decisions is out there on iTunes and Google Play and Amazon. There's links on my Twitter at Forrest Shaw with 2 R's, FORRESTSHAW. And Bryan Callen.
Brian's on the Goldbergs, but
yep.
you've got your spin-off? You got any comedy specials or anything?
I got the special. I'm shooting my special, Talia Hall in Chicago, July 20th. Tickets just went on sale for that.
Oh, congratulations.
I'll be in Denver. Thank you, sir. I'll be in Denver Comedy Works this weekend. And Calusa
Best comedy
Casino.
club in the country.
I think so, too.
I think so.
I think it's fucking amazing. They pack it in.
Yep.
And then Calusa Casino, May 5th. Come see me. Thank you, boys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as we always finish the Jefferies podcast with a moment of inspiration.
Never done that.
Try to treat people nice. Don't spit on random strangers. You know.
So inspiring. So if there's a topic you want us to talk about, tweet to us at Jeffrey Show. Please subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts,
I'm eating
Spotify,
food
Google
off my
Play,
chair.
Stitcher, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Anything else, Jim?
No, I'm good, man.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys.
How good was that sandwich?
That was really good.
This has been a Comedy Central podcast.
So inspiring. So if there's a topic you want us to talk about, tweet to us at Jeffrey Show. Please subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts,
I'm eating
Spotify,
food off
Google
my
Play,
chair.
Stitcher, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Anything else, Jim?
No, I'm good, man.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys.
How good was that sandwich?
That was really good.
This has been a Comedy Central podcast. This has been a Comedy Central podcast.